Good afternoon, my beautiful people. How are we doing? How are we doing? So we've got a lovely little opportunity here on Bitcoin. Buying nice and low down in the sub 80 or sub 90k region. Pretty decent. Definitely a chance to go long here. Now we do have a bearish bias for this because we're looking at intraday biases rather than longer term biases. If we head over to the weekly chart, you'll see how we haven't actually formed any bearish movement to confirm the more, how would I say, like swing asset, if you were. We're still preliminarily bullish. Now, if you look at some of the points over here where we actually shifted, we had the, if I put the money in, here we go, look. You can see how we actually created a gap here, and then we actually had consecutively 2 weeks of sell side price action. Then we came back in again with another sell area. We did have a buy area, but unfortunately it didn't hold. Then we had again another 1, 2, 3 weeks of sell side. Then we have the bullish bias come back in, and we've been bullish since. Now, I'm not expecting anything to shift just yet. Yes, we've had a sell-off, but short-term sell-offs don't really represent the longer-term moves in the market. We know this, right? So keep in mind, just because the daily bias is bearish doesn't mean that it won't change and we'll see price shift bullish. I think there's a lot of opportunity in here, personally. As always, everything said is my opinion, not financial advice. So if you are holding Bitcoin, of course, good job if you bought in low. But if you didn't, maybe now could be a time to start looking for an area to actually buy from. So remember, we were looking at copper not long ago. We were looking at it potentially continuing to the upside. Now we have actually changed our bias to bearish now. So the potential for more longs on this is a little bit less now. So copper being one of the assets that should really follow the demand side of the market, which it does a lot of the time. Um, but we also have the tariffs coming in from the Americans, which are affecting, of course, the value of these metals. Let's take a little peek at the S&P 500. Okay, so bearish bias here. Nothing too crazy going on right now. Can set an alert on here. There's a potential area that we could shift from. Let's see what we've got on Dow Jones. Again, still bearish here. Let's go and have a little peek. So this has actually just delivered a beautiful entry. I don't trade this pair, but I always like to just have a little skim over it. And I know there's some of my students that do trade it. Now look at that for an entry. That's beautiful. Our broker here didn't actually tag in. It's only a short-term trade down to this low, giving you a 4.2. But as always, I love to showcase the rule set and the principles that you would be following if you were trading this pair. Let's see if it gets down into the lows here. Be interesting to know if it does. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully you're all good. I've just got a phone call from my partner. 1 second, guys. Apologies for that, guys. Let's carry on where we were. Ended up helping her carry some stuff upstairs. Right. Let's carry on from where we were. So, beautiful sell-off there on Dow Jones. Let's have a little looky. See where, if any, previous setups were given. This current build of Orion is not the best. So, here, for example, that would have been your entry point. That would have been the high, and then your target would have been here. So that's actually a very crisp entry there, to be honest. You can get that down into the low. So Euro, we had yesterday we had an entry given here, right at the top, about 1 a.m. Unfortunately, it never triggered in, but it did run down and meet the target, which I believe is this low, which we'll see in a second once Orion loads. Okay, no, it wasn't the low. The low was a little bit further down. We have marked here. So that was the low, but again, no entry was actually triggered, unfortunately. And the worst thing about it, where's the high that we took there? Yeah, here's the high that we took. Again, that Orion build is not actually currently marking that for some reason. But there it is. There's your entry, that's where your stop would go, and then the TP would be here. So that's a 1 to 13. Big move there. This 1 to 5.6 came down within a smidge of our TP and then decided to reverse, which is unfortunate. It's one of those things. Yes, you could partial. Yes, you could do this. Yes, you could do that. But you don't want to deviate too much away from the plan. If you deviate from the plan, you deviate in your results. So we're looking for sells on EU still, and we're looking for buys on GU. Now, I believe there was actually an entry that pinged yesterday on GU from the lows, and we'll show you that here. That was this entry. Now, this entry again did not trigger in, but we haven't had any entries since. So we're looking for that move to the high here, which is marked in green, and then we're looking to follow that through into a further expansive move. Gold has also sold away. We had a nice entry given here, but again, price did not trigger in. Yesterday was one of the days where price just did not want to pay ball, unfortunately, but that's just the way things go. Not always do you have the opportunity to get in to the market and ultimately collect the profits and the trade entries that you want. So make sure you hit that like button, guys. Remember, our goal is 10 likes. We're at 4 likes right now, so I'm sure we can get to 10. That's only 6 more. This stream is sponsored by NetApp Investments, so if you want to check them out, they're doing some crazy returns in 2025. So far, they're close to being at the 30% return level in the last 2 months. Well, call it 3 months, so we're looking at 10% a month, which is actually the maximum return that they offer. So they're delivering at the highest end of what they actually will sort of give or can give, which is awesome. So if you want to benefit from the passive income like myself and many of the other investors, then give them a buzz and set up an account with them and just let it roll. It's the easiest thing. So how's everyone's week so far? Excuse me. It's a pretty quiet day today so far. We're just ticking along. Ticking along. So we do have the high here, which has potential to deliver us up into, not up into, sorry, but deliver us an entry. So we shall see if we manage to get up into those highs. We will know. Of course, we will be alerted to that. Excuse me. Let's have a little look at what the rest of the pairs are telling us. Remember, we are bearish here, so we are looking for runs of the highs on the JPY pairs. So beautiful push up there on GJ. Now, we don't have a high here apparently, but I would probably say that is a 4-hour high. And it is a 4-hour high, just like I thought. The fact that it's not highlighted is a bit strange, but that's the current shape of the build at the moment, which is unfortunate. We had the no tap in here. We also had a no tap in here after it ran up to the 2R area, which I'll showcase to you now. 2R is there. And we have oil, which we had the BE entry here. I don't know if we've had another entry. I don't think we do. That's too overextended to be buying anything from there. We actually have a bearish bias now. This bearish bias, unfortunately, isn't going to allow us to play in this trade. The reason I say that is because our target for this area is this, and we've already met that point. So the fact that we've already met our target eliminates the possibility for further targeting on the downside. Now, we could, of course, say we're not going to do that and we're going to run it, but that would still be overruled by the exemption of it being more extended than 3R. So we have to wait for the next entry to come. So we will mark this anyway because it goes on to the end of week report. Remember, just because you didn't get into a trade, it doesn't mean that the overall system isn't working. The fact it gave you an area to trade from, and this is what I was saying before, the fact that price and the data-driven edge that we use has highlighted an area that you should trade from and an area we should trade to, that is our move that we're trying to capitalize on. The move came, we didn't manage to jump on with it. That's unfortunate. But the move and the section in price that we wanted to trade was delivered. This is actually a great example of the way your trading system will be delivered, but you might not necessarily be able to be involved with the move. But that's fine, because another move will come. What's going on, Chetley? I hope you're well, my friend. So as I've explained before, Orion gives us something that's very unique, which is knowing where we want to trade from before it gets there, and knowing where we want to trade to before it gets there, giving us a very clear point A to point B scenario. If price decides to travel between these 2 points without us being in the market, that's fine. The fact that we were able to depict a section in a otherwise very large and vast market, we were able to define an area we want to trade to, trade from, and the direction we want to do so. That in itself is something that you should cherish and really make the most of. Many traders spend their lives hunting for trades that really aren't ever going to come round to them. So just really make sure that you focus on that principle and you learn Orion and use it as it should be used, which is a precision tool. Okay, so let's go back over to Dow Jones. I'm very interested to see if price gets down to this low section here. Now, the reason I say that is because the market's relatively slow at the moment, and I do think there's potential for this to sell off quite deeply. But whether it does or not, of course, is a different story altogether. So S&P 500 crossing into the money in area that I spoke about. We are bearish on this at the moment. So not an overall, not a huge amount going on there. So let's have a look at silver here. I've had a couple of looks at silver lately, and there's been actually some really nice opportunities for silver. Um, it did actually give the same entry as gold down in the low here, which you'll see right there. Um, and it did actually tap in and run a fair amount, um, which is great. You know, we don't want to be missing entries, but missing entries is part of the way the system works. And unless you're using a complete sort of entry basis that gives you an execution on the market as it reacts, then there is always possibilities that you could miss something. So what's the time here? We're 30 minutes in. So we're going to have another 15 minutes or so, and then we're going to be heading over to the Discord. Bear with me, guys, 2 seconds. So is there any pairs that people want me to have a look at? If there is, just let me know. GJ, we're still looking for that to push up here. Honestly, the market's kind of dead today. It's pretty quiet. Midweek mush. So we are posting short content quite a lot. So if you have seen any of our short content, make sure you give us a little comment and a like. We appreciate it. Back in 2 seconds. Really sluggish currently. Look at Euro GBP. Entry here. Nothing really going on further up. I'm gonna get there. DJ Okay, 30. Now the reason I'm using Vantage is because the account that we're going to be testing Orion with is going to be Vantage. So you can see here, this is what I was saying earlier. That may have triggered us in broker side. That very well may have triggered us in. So we're bullish back over here. Let's just rewind some. And again, we could do it manually, but we can. Why do it manually when we can just use Orion, right? Up here. Wait for it to load. Our daily bias is in place, so we'll know if it has any blips or any bugs. Remember, it is still in a relatively fragile state, so we're just keeping that in mind. So we're just going to play it. I believe that should be an entry. Not that. Shouldn't be an entry. I don't know why that's been triggered. We're now bearish. There's an entry. That worked beautifully. Beautiful entry there. The only issue we had was we would have had to have targeted something a lot lower on a larger time frame. There's one entry there. It's beautiful. Again, a lot of this stuff here at the moment, so excuse me, for example, like this big yellow area, this is for my colleague that's building Orion to be able to track certain elements without changing time frame whilst he's coding. So it's not going to be in the full build. These are just here, excuse me, for short term. I can't even speak now. My voice is completely gone. For short term, just so we can see, you know, what's happening. We'll just keep playing here. Another entry given. Now, see what we get. At the moment, we haven't had anything really that's been too crazy. Remember, like I say, we're just looking for those areas to pop up. They will be pretty obvious to see because they're bright red. Okay, there's an area right there. Now, this is something to keep in mind. Whenever you see like aggressive spikes like this, more than likely that's news at 3 p.m. You wouldn't be involved, but still we're looking at that price action to sell down to the lows. Red area is given. Look for the lowest pre-established point to be hit. Beautiful. So that move is, like I was explaining earlier, from here down to that low, that's the section of price we're looking to trade. If we can or can't, based off of price action, that's fine. We'll wait out until the next one comes. Honestly, it's so ugly with those bits on it. Okay, so same thing. We're just looking for bearish, bearish, bearish. That's huge bearish moves. So we're going through at a rapid pace here. See what I mean? If I rewind that. Wait for it to load. Remember, we don't have to stare at live price because we have alerts. So we don't need to just constantly watch live price. Okay, so there was never an entry there. We'll just keep playing. Looking for runs of the highs, like so, into sells into the low. All right. So we had an area here, then we've got a bullish bias opened up. So if we did acquire any bearish entries here, we'd be exiting them now. Because price tells us that it's more likely going to go bullish from here. Okay, so remember, seeing a bearish movement after we have a bullish bias is completely normal because we need price to come down and hit a lower point to be able to find that movement to the upside. Target being here. Entry point for us being here. Didn't take it in. Hit the target. It's actually a beautiful entry if it had given us the right delivery. So unfortunately, not really a huge amount of entries being given here. That's an invalid entry. We know that's a bug. Okay, that right there, that would have taken you out if this was not a fundamental move. Believe it probably was, but still, regardless, that probably would have taken you out. Bias changed to bearish. We're looking for... I tell you what, I could actually just turn that off. Another pretty insane move there from the area given. Price doesn't tag in, but what a beautiful expansion down. What a beautiful move. Again, this is what I was saying before. You're not always going to get it, but when you have an opportunity to sell from like an extreme high point down to here and here, the reward on that chunk of price action can be huge. Sometimes it's big, sometimes it's small. We just have to see what price delivers to us. Now we're bullish here. Now I believe there's probably some points that Orion is missing around this area. I might be wrong, but I believe there probably is. Let's have a look. Yes, see right here, that is a low that should be highlighted. We go down to the 15-minute, that's the low I'm talking about. So whether it gives an entry or not, I don't know because I haven't tested it on non-validated highs or lows. I'll pause it here for a second. That's also an invalid entry, I believe, because there was no highs in there. That would be a valid entry and it would have taken you out. Again, bearish still. Still looking for bearish, still looking for bearish. Not a valid entry. Bullish now? No, bearish. I was looking at this one, which I think had a slight bug. Again, another example of the extreme kind of tap in and sell move that you can get from some of these entries. Yes, they may have a few losing trades. Yes, there may be a few winning trades. But overall, you're going to see the nice movements that go in your bias direction, highlighting from where and to. Yes, it may not be the biggest section of price and it may run after your TP, or it may not tap you in, but you've managed to define with a simple rule set, I want to trade from X down into Y, giving you something that a lot of traders don't have: clarity and understanding, a parameter to trade within. Okay, so another couple of minutes and we'll be wrapping this up here, guys. Let's just ping forwards to live price. Cool. What a move. What a move. Literally gapping to our TP. Not sure why. There we go. It's pretty insane. So we may look to incorporate Dow Jones into one of the active pairs that we track, but at the moment we're just going to run the pairs that we have. But I encourage you guys to actively track Dow Jones with this system. Gather some data on it, see how well it works. You can see it does give some killer moves when it's ready to sell or ready to buy. Right guys, I'm going to wrap up the live stream there. I appreciate everyone for joining me. Remember, if you're not already completely consumed by the Orion trading system, you can learn it with all the content that is provided here on YouTube, and of course with the mentorship program provided, as well as the Discord content and all of the things that we provide within there. So I'll see everybody in tomorrow's live stream. I appreciate you all. If you are a VIP, head over to the VIP section of the Discord right now, and I will see you in there very shortly. Enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you all soon. Peace and love.